Well, it's a very good afternoon. Racing back. Jules is in Macclesfield. It's a very good morning to Bradley Smith in Florida, hopefully enjoying the sunshine. Look forward to this edition. Lots to talk lots to talk to Bradley about present day, older days, what he's doing now. So let's start straight away with Bradley. First of all, warm welcome to Racing Back, Bradley. What are you doing in Florida?
Thanks, guys. Well, I'm here prepping for Daytona. It's the first round of the Bagger Championship. Will be on the 6th and 7th of March. So we finished all our preseason testing. We've done a team launch over here in Milwaukee just last week. And then, just getting ready to race on the banks of Daytona. I think to keep everybody in the loop, it's 190 miles an hour is the target for the top speed this year. I think it was 188 last year on the bank. So these baggers, they don't mess around. The banks don't mess around as well. Like the nature of that track is absolutely wild. Yeah. So very excited to get back there. Daytona is something iconic. And the baggers just keep going from strength to strength. So the competition's on as always with Indian, and we won the championship last year, got the #1 plate. Not me personally, but Harley Davidson, which is what matters, and plan to retain it, this season.
Yes, we should point out there's a proper factory war in baggers, Indian versus Harley. How American is that? And you are a factory employee of Harley Davidson.
Yes, and I could try to explain this war, but it runs deep. I think it runs more than 120 years. So it really makes it exciting though, because the fans really buy into it. They're either one side or the other, and we know that competition is already fierce inside of the motorcycle world. Plus this added, let's say, tension. Two factories going hard against each other. It's fun.
I look forward to it. And let's start with MotoGP. It starts this weekend in Thailand, but I think the question everybody's saying, ask Bradley. No Phillip Island, street circuit Adelaide. Phillip Island, of course, where you took your first MotoGP podium. How do you feel?
I mean, it's sad, right? To lose an iconic track like that. It's sad to see, but also it's a business decision. That's way above our pay grade in terms of the decisions that get made. I'm very interested to see what Adelaide decide to do and how they build this new track. It could potentially lead to some great ideas moving forward and great venues for all of us. I imagine it being in a park like that could create, I don't know, almost like a concert feel, how they build it, and but we'll see how it goes. But very sad, because I have that fantastic memory being on the podium there with Jorge and Valentino, a Yamaha clean sweep. I still don't forget it, and it's 12 years on, so will always be a special one in my heart.
I can imagine. Right, we've had Neil Hodgson on, we've had Keith Ewan on, we've had lots of Neil Mackenzie talking about British riders, lack of British riders in MotoGP. You managed to do it, Bradley. So can we start from the beginning? Rather like a lot of people in Britain, you started with motocross, didn't you?
I did. Started with motocross, which was family background, had dad and uncles that raced, then cousins and my brother and sister as well, and now my niece and nephew race. So off-road is something in the Smith family through and through. And just the opportunity became available through King's Two Wheel Centre, which was a local bike shop. The Poldens there, Craig and Steve, they both helped, steer me in the direction of road racing, and really just fluked out from the opportunity that did fairly well in the first year. And then they made the MotoGP Academy there, in Spain, took under the guidance of Alberto Puig and fast tracked. I still say I am completely, a person that had a career of right place, right time. there's plenty of people that come before me and come after that have done exactly the same as what I had done. There just wasn't the stepping stone and the platform to do it. So, took the opportunity, ran with it, and the rest is history, because, the rest are in film and pictures and in memories. So, just a great kind of career, from a dirt biker that turned road racer.
Yeah. And Alberto Puig, an interesting person to guide you, I'd imagine, on and off the track.
Yeah, but Alberto's system really fit well with my character and what I wanted from racing, and how I went about it. I don't know. I didn't want mummy cuddling. I just wanted to be told, what to do and how to do it. And Alberto's system was ruthless. It was extremely hard at times, but it prepared you for everything that you were going to see and did see inside of the motorcycle world. So, it maybe is not how the textbook would write it, but it certainly worked for me.
Yeah. And others with you. I'm sorry, Julian. Scott Redding, Danny Webb, there were others that came through with you and did okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Danny Webb was there, even Kev Coughlin for a little bit. Then Scott Redding, and the list then becomes endless from other riders. So James Westmoreland as well. Came through. I think he did one or two races. A lot of people benefited. Even if it was just briefly from that whole project. So just great memories from it. It fast-tracked my learning career by tenfold. We tested at all the tracks before we went racing. Nothing but really good things to say about it, and it worked for me.
And I think it's fair to say Alberto went into bat for you with the people who are paying the bills, the sponsors, on more than a couple of occasions. This, Englishman.
No, yes, absolutely. Ultimately, he could have placed me in a world championship team that was existing when I made my debut in 2026. He went round and had meetings with numerous teams that had bikes available. He didn't like the look and feel of any of them, so decided to tell Dorna that they needed to make me a team. And ultimately, that team was with my crew chief, Santi Hernandez, who had literally just come off of working with, I think he had been working with Sete Gibernau at the time, on the MotoGP project there with Showa, and then sidestepped and come to work with me as my crew chief there. So basically couldn't have had anyone better, at the helm. And he's proven, he's been the guiding light for Marc Marquez the majority of his career as well. I had the right people put around me. I think there was definitely a question mark after 2026 for 2027. Repsol, being a title sponsor, wanted a Spanish rider, and Alberto just made sure that I still had a job there for another season. And then he actually was the guy that did the deal for 2008 with Polaris World. Which ultimately set me on my way with a full-time career then, let's say. So, really went to bat for me, believed in me, and, put me in good stead.
Is that way open for British riders now? Because there is such a dearth at the moment of British riders in, all the classes apart from, in Moto3, but no Moto2 and no MotoGP.
I believe that it still is. If I have a look at Red Bull rookies, that is the number one opportunity that everyone should double down on. The fact that there is an opportunity to race there, not all expenses paid, but let's say racing expenses paid on Grand Prix tracks in front of Grand Prix teams and sponsors. People should double down on that opportunity. There's a lot of question marks, to me many times. Hey, how would you do it now? How would you consider, if you were doing it again, what would you do? And I would just go all in on the Red Bull rookies. Once I was at the right age, focus on that and make sure I shined inside that category.
Yeah, and puts you in the spotlight as well, doesn't it? The teams are watching that series.
Yeah, there's too many success stories as well. Like there's just too many success stories from people that have been inside of that championship. Yeah, they're just it's a proven method that people shouldn't, turn their nose up at.
And 20 podium finishes and 3 Grand Prix wins and runner-up in the 125cc World Championship. So it certainly proved a very fruitful class for you.
It's been a absolute tremendous tremendous career. Like, it worked, the motocross side of things, it worked. Road racing side of things, it worked. Super Teens was great, as an opener, as a starter, and then going through 125s to Moto2 to MotoGP. It all works. So yeah, like, MotoGP still should be the main focus point, and Red Bull rookies can get you there.
Yep. So let's get the numbers. 3 podiums in Moto2 and the 2 in Moto Grand Prix, I think I'm right in saying, and 4 in Moto E when you did a bit of the electric racing.
Yeah. So plenty inside of 125. That was definitely a fruitful side of my career. So that was super good. And then Moto2 was a bit more of a struggle. I think, you're just racing against more talent as the categories go up. I was racing the Mistral Tech 3, which there was only 2 of us. So I would say that we were a little bit behind the 8 ball compared to a Calex or a Suter at that point. But still managed to get podiums, and still managed to get some competitive results. And then once you step to MotoGP, that seems to be harder and harder. I'm proud of the Phillip Island one. That one was in the dry, like no arguments about that one, if that makes sense, right from start to finish. And Misano was just an absolutely ballsy from my side that seemed to...
Yes, Misano was 3rd place, behind Scott.
No,
Redding,
in front of Scott. Were you 2nd or 3rd, Bradley, in Misano, when you stayed out, didn't you, when the rain came, and it was that sort of showery day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So we started on slicks. It started to rain after 4 or 5 laps. Everyone decided to go in, except for me. I think I ended up nearly lapped at one point and then managed to come back to the podium. But yes, I finished 2nd. Marquez won, me I think about six seconds behind, and then Scott Redding getting the podium as well. So yeah, we just all laughed while stood on the podium, because I think Scott even crashed.
I think he did. Yeah. I think
when I talked to Scott Redding after that race, all he could talk about was you, and how he could not understand, for the life of him, how you'd managed to get through those conditions on that track on slicks. He just, about your race, Scott. No, he talked about Bradley. He was overwhelmed by the achievement, I got the impression.
Yeah, I don't think it would have worked on any other day.
Yeah, and then of course,
because I tried to do the similar type thing in much less water on the track, but there was just something that worked.
And then obviously Tech 3 came to an end, and you went to KTM. I'll never forget, and I'm going to ask you about this, what's happening now. You told me a year in advance, I never forget, at Qatar, the opening round of the season, that you were going to KTM. I thought you meant that afternoon. I couldn't believe it, but in fact, it was a year later that you and Paul went to KTM, wasn't it, to start their MotoGP career?
Yeah, it was a very early call. I was actually in Indonesia at the time, and Austrian number called me and had a missed call, and I was like, I really need to call this back. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg, but it's worth making the call. And there it was, with Mike Leitner essentially offering me the ride there and there. So yeah, just amazing opportunity to be able to get to get that call up, and it was an easy decision for me. KTM was someone that I always believed in, with them being a motocross manufacturer. So I jumped at the chance.
Yes, sort of the return journey, wasn't it? But it was on the tarmac rather than on the dirt. But that first season with KTM
Oh
was
yeah,
pretty tough, wasn't it?
it was. I mean, starting the season on the Screamer engine, was very, very difficult. Like I'd just come from a Yamaha that was very docile, very user friendly. One of, I would say, the smoother motorcycles out there. And yeah, basically jumped on a KTM that wanted to, behaved almost like a 500cc two-stroke is what I can only explain it as, and it was definitely a handful. It made my life very, very tricky, but that was, I suppose, what I was buying into. When I made that decision, I expected it to be a 4-year project. 2 years to get ourselves up and running, and 2 years to take advantage of of all the work that we'd done. But nevertheless, it didn't plan out that way. But we got a big bag engine, in Le Mans. I remember for the first time that made things a lot easier and a lot more user friendly. I think we got through something like 10 frames that season, 5 swinging arms, and 2 different engine configurations. So it was a hell of a learning curve for me, but stood me in good stead to be a development rider moving forward, for a pretty around for BMW and for now what I'm doing at Harley. So nevertheless, I'm, everything that I learned through that period has done me well.
And looking back on the whole MotoGP career, one thing I remember about you, Brad, you were a great starter, weren't you, on the MotoGP, especially on the Tech 3 Yamaha. It's often you led a Grand Prix, which obviously 2 Oxford boys together made me very happy, but you were an amazing starter.
Yeah, I think it's from growing up as a motocrosser. That was something that was essential. And to be honest, I really sucked at starts in my early days. It was one of my weaker points, but somehow managed to slowly figure it out. Always being aggressive into turn 1, turn 2, was something that I wasn't afraid of. I played that to my strength, and it definitely did me wow. I remember, I think it was 2012, I managed to lead the British Grand Prix in Moto 2. And that one would always be a favourite of mine. I started well from 4th place, got into 1st, knew that I had no chance of staying there, but just did everything that I could to, basically be leading the British Grand Prix and get some cool pictures.
Yeah, Le Mans, you leading Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez in the opening couple of laps.
Yeah, you have a better memory than I do, Nick. I forget half of the things that I did in my career.
Yeah.
I was going to say it was the first corner at Texas where you took a totally terrifying round the outside manoeuvre and went from sort of midfield to right up the sharp end, but it scared the living daylights out of me in the commentary box.
Yeah. Like turn 1, I knew that people were going to get pinched, because they would go in early and get pinched at the apex. And I was like, well, let's just see if I can make something move around the outside and especially be up the inside into turn 2. And yeah, it paid off pretty well. So you guys are bringing back memories now. I can't believe it.
And I look at your career, I look at most riders' careers. Injuries have played a big part, haven't they? And I think it's something you probably just have to accept. But you've come back with some really bad injuries, Brad.
Yes. I think like the knee injury did set me back a little bit there, getting run over, dislocating, basically discolating my knee, doing 3 out of the 4 cruciate ligaments inside of your knee was a mess. Felt very fortunate at that time to have the Red Bull sponsorship, and they put me into the rehab center. Did 2 months based there inside of Austria during December and January, and they turned things around for me and had me ready for the season again. But also, doing silly things like the endurance race that I did at Le Mans. Thought, want to tick that off my bucket list.
You say endurance racing is the shortest endurance race in living memory for.
I did, the 24 seconds of Le Mans, that one.
It was that far.
Just unfortunate, a lot of things happened, but basically bike didn't start. And my teammate had told me, hey, if the bike doesn't start for whatever reason, look over your shoulder before you pull out, because you never know with these guys. And sure enough, literally the last person that went past me managed to go in the back of me. So, that one was messy. And then unfortunately, I was doing some Dunlop testing. What are we talking? The back end of 2024, and managed to break my femur, and that one was probably the worst one to come back from. Like if anyone breaks their femur, like Fermin Aldeguer obviously is trying to come back from that at the moment. But anyone that's trying to come back from that injury, it sucks. That. I really feel for people that have to come back from those ones, because it's no fun at all.
Pushed you on to being a test rider, first at Aprilia, and they seem to be doing rather well at the moment. And certainly, of course, Bezzecchi leading the way in the test in Thailand with the first Grand Prix this weekend. And then on to BMW World Superbike, and we know that story's ended very successfully.
Yeah, I certainly can't really take any credit for the Aprilia stuff 7 years on. That would be a real racer going, see what I did there. But to see the transformation of Aprilia, I think one of the main things was when they changed to a 90-degree, or let's say something close to a 90-degree, at the back end of 2020. I tested that bike ready for 2021, and that really got them on the right way, because their chassis was always very good. Just the engine was something that was lacking. So, glad to see the performance that they're getting. Glad to see someone keeping Ducati on their toes, because that's extremely important for the competition, inside of the championship. So that's great. And then BMW, to be honest, very lucky to work with a rider like Toprak, because as much as we try to develop the bike, his way of riding, he's able to overcome a lot of issues. He doesn't need a perfect bike, if that makes sense. That's
a good job.
Yeah, he is very adaptable, but he needs to be able to be adaptable, and that's one thing that BMW did a great job. They gave him what he needed and what he wanted. Also, the Pirelli allows him to do that, because the Pirelli will allow you to slow down a lot in the last 50 meters before a corner apex. I can't really speak on MotoGP anymore, because I haven't ridden a bike for so long, but from what I understand, that's still a very difficult thing to be able to do with Michelin's, just because of the nature of the tires. So I have no doubt he'll figure it out, but he needs the tools to be able to do it. I don't think anyone's a magician, but he's working with a new crew chief. That crew chief will slowly understand him and understand what it is that he needs. And when they do give him what he needs, he'll start to do Toprak things. But for the time being, he's just like the rest of us, trying to search for that, golden feeling that he wants.
So we've had the first round of the World Superbikes, Phillip Island. It keeps cropping up, Phillip Island, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In the news, and pretty predictable there, I think, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, Bulliger got the clean sweep there last year, so to see him performing well, doesn't surprise me. The Ducati tends to go well around there. It's a thoroughbred race bike, right? So, it turns well on the edge of the tire, especially with a new swinging arm as well. It seems to have made another step. They've got a few MotoGP aero bits that have trickled down, and at the end of the day, Bulliger stood in on the MotoGP bike at the end of last year and did a tremendous job. So there's no denying his talent. Was very glad to see Bimota hanging in there and doing a good job, in the dry. I think Phillip Island's always been a tricky one for BMW. So I have no doubt at more, I don't want to say stop and go tracks, but I am going to say stop and go tracks. That's kind of something that's favouring the BMW a little bit more. So once we get back to Europe, that should, go back in their favour a little bit, because I do think Danilo Petrucci and Oliveira are great riders. And then just hope that Yamaha is able to find something. I think the engine is the biggest struggle for them. So just looking for non-horsepower tracks for them to show what they're capable of, because they've got some good riders in the mix there as well.
It's the same issues for all of the factories in Moto Grand Prix and Superbike. It's remarkable at the moment how it's you switch paddocks and the issues are the same everywhere.
Yeah, you could literally copy and paste, rider debriefs, at this point. So, it's great to see Yamaha's venturing out, though. They have gone out on a whim. They are trying to reinvent themselves in the most competitive time that we've ever seen MotoGP. So, it's very brave of them to take this stance and go for it. I mean, they had no choice, but to basically do live or in real life development for everyone to see, with such a spotlight on them is very, very brave. I think they're doing a tremendous job considering the amount of months that they've had to work on the project. And yeah, they'll find their way. It just, it's just such a competitive time, like engine speed seems to be the number one at the moment, if you can make your engine fast. But Ducati made their engine fast already, 6 years ago, and then, or even 10 years ago. And now that all they've had to do is work on the chassis, and they've been refining it from there. So, to a certain extent, Yamaha's now starting from scratch.
And surely they're looking at next season, 27, with the change of regs and change of tyres, and working towards that. They can't be expecting to win races this year. I mean, you always hope to do well, but surely the aim is long term.
Yeah, well, we're at the end of a 5-year development cycle. Everyone is so refined. Like, if you think, we've had engine freezes now for a long time. So everyone's just worked on chassis and, having the same platform over and over, and they've just eked it out now. They know exactly how Michelins are going to degrade. They know what they need. They know the perfect operating window. They just know everything about their current platform. So this year is going to be struggle street, I feel, for Yamaha. But I think once they go through it, like you said, 2027 can put them back in the window.
And Thailand, you have raced there. I don't think Jules and I have been to the circuit in Thailand. Always big crowd, always massive interest. Good circuit.
Yeah, it's a nice one to start the year. I think that it keeps the racing very close. I'm not going to say it's a basic track, but it's one of the least technical ones that are out there. So in terms of qualifying, I kind of feel that the lap times are very, very close. Top probably 10, top 12 within 0.5 of a second, something like that we'd expect to see. But it gives really good overtaking opportunities, breaking down into 1, into 3 at the end of the straight there. Sometimes the slipstream back towards turn 4. Then the infield gets a little bit one-line-ish, but it keeps everybody together. And then the last corner just opens itself up for some great overtaking opportunities. So great one to start the season on. Just so hot, so humid. I remember my foot just being on fire the last 10 laps of the race there, just like blisters underneath your feet. So as a rider, it's always a challenge. And but yeah, nice one to start the season, especially with the enthusiasm, as you say, from the fans.
How many races have you got this season, Bradley, with the baggers?
I believe it's 6. So it's the same as it was last year, and yeah, same calendar, same championship, the way that it was. Our rivals of Indian, they've moved to a different team. They're actually going to be looked after by Vance and Hines this year, which are, renowned engine builders and development. So we know we've got our hands full with our competitors, and I'm looking forward to it.
And it's you and James Rispoli as the spearhead Harley team, yeah?
Yeah, so we have three factory riders: myself, Kyle Wyman, who was the champion last year, and James Rispoli. And then the Indian team will be Troy Herfoss, who was 2024 champion, Hayden Gillam, and Rocco Landers.
Apologies for forgetting the champion was in your team. That was bad of me.
Yeah, no worries. You can't forget about the champ. He won't let you.
No. So, Brad, it's been a long journey, a great journey for you. What's the highlight? Phillip Island and that third place. I can see it now. Cal Crutchlow was running third and fell off the Ducati. Was it the last lap of the hairpin? And there you were in third place.
Yeah. There's so many, right? Just so many good memories when I think back to it. Me and James were talking, to be honest, about all the races that he listened to, listening to your commentary and all the fantastic memories that he had. And I started telling James about 2005, being inside of Jules' commentary box, watching Barcelona Grand Prix, looking out the window there. So, just so many iconic, fun memories from it all. I look back at that period of life, with just such good times. Everything comes to an end, but memories don't. So that's an awesome one to live with. But yeah, standing on Grand Prix podiums, get to travel the world, and still having fun riding motorcycles at 36. I can't complain.
All right, you've summed up our program and summed up our lives absolutely perfectly.
Absolutely.
Not standing on the Grand Prix podium for me and Jules.
No.
The rest of it. Well, good luck for the season. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank
you, we've got many great memories of you riding as well. Many thanks, Brad. Well, there we go, Jules. Bradley Smith, and underrated, I reckon, Bradley. 23 podium finishes, 2 in MotoGP, 3 Grand Prix wins. We forget sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, it's because he's such an undemonstrative character, as he just proved to us by being very matter-of-fact and quiet and level. 23 Grand Prix podium finishes, covering all 3 classes.
Yeah.
Second in the 125s. 6th as the best finish in the Moto Grand Prix class.
That's right. And he had, I forget how many consistent top 10 finishes.
Eight. I think there was an 8th place as well in the. This is a top level rider.
Yeah.
By anybody's analysis, and I might actually watch some baggers now.
You're in trouble. Just to remind you, all your motorsport tickets, if you're after tickets and packages, some super packages, MotoGP, World Superbike, the TT in the Isle of Man, BSP, motorsporttickets.com. The QR code is on the screen or by link in the show notes. So there you go. If you want your tickets, they are the people to go with. And still, we're looking for more and more people to join our little club.
Yes, if you have a look on the YouTube page for this podcast, you'll find the info in amongst there. But you can, for a couple of quid, you can get early access, join the forum, all those little extras that you may feel your life is incomplete without them.
Well, we hope so, and we got some good lineups coming. We have worked hard on the line next week, and I've just spoken to him. He's on holiday in India at the moment. Randy Momola, surely, well, he was my man, the man that deserved a world championship that never won it. 4 times runner-up in the 500cc World Championship. He won Grand Prix on 3 different makes of machine. Randy is the guest next week, and the week after, well, Steve Parish is coming on. We're going to commemorate the passing of a certain Barry Sheen, who turned motorcycle racing on its head in a similar way to Valentino Rossi. And Steve Parish was, without a shadow of a doubt, Barry's very, very best mate. So plenty to look forward to, Jules. We've enjoyed having Bradley Smith on. Looking forward to Randy. And I think there's a little bit of sunshine out there as well.
I think so. And sort of contrasting characters, Bradley Smith and Randy Mamola. Don't say we don't bring you variety.